Has anyone ever shared the raw, unvarnished truth about what life truly entails after the age of 80? Crossing into your eighth decade brings with it a subtle, profound shift that very few people openly discuss. We're not talking about the superficial markers like birthday celebrations, or the slightly slower pace of mornings. Instead, we're delving into the deeper, often unspoken transformations that define this unique chapter. It is a time brimming with accumulated wisdom, yet often marked by undeniable loss, characterized by a profound sense of presence, yet sometimes tinged with an unsettling distance. There can be moments of deep, abiding peace, but also, at times, a pervasive loneliness. And if you're not mentally prepared for some of these inevitable shifts, they can catch you completely off guard, leaving you to wonder, why didn't someone tell me this? In this discussion, we will bravely confront 5 harsh realities of life after 80. Our intention is not to instill fear or induce despondency, but rather to offer unclouded clarity. Because when you possess the foresight to anticipate these changes, you are no longer at their mercy. You gain the invaluable opportunity to prepare for them, to meet them head-on with unwavering strength instead of bewildered surprise. We'll explore the unsettling phenomenon of shrinking social circles, the frustrating truth of a body that no longer recuperates with its former youthful vigor, the creeping necessity of dependence that often feels deeply uncomfortable even when it's essential, the quiet way society begins to overlook your invaluable presence, and that peculiar persistent ache that surfaces when old regrets meet an abundance of time, yet a dwindling sense of purpose. Stay with us until the very end, for while some of these truths may indeed feel heavy, they also swing open the door to something truly powerful: acceptance, profound resilience, and the unparalleled chance to shape the final stretch of your life with a dignity that no one else can define but you. Let's bravely discuss what truly happens after 80 and how you can navigate this terrain with open eyes, steady hands, and your head held high. One of the initial realities that profoundly impacts you after 80 isn't physical, it's deeply relational. The vibrant tapestry of people who once populated your world begins, often without explicit warning, to unravel and fade. Cherished friends pass on, familiar neighbors relocate, beloved siblings grow quiet and distant, and even long-time companions who once called every week might now only reach out every few months. It's not a personal slight, it is simply the relentless march of time. Yet it leaves behind a profound void that can feel unsettlingly hollow, regardless of how robust or independent your spirit may be. You might awaken one morning and starkly realize that the phone no longer rings with its familiar frequency, that invitations to gatherings have dwindled, and that family visits have become shorter, more rushed, and less spontaneous. People still undoubtedly love you, but they are often caught up in their own demanding lives, distracted by their own responsibilities or grappling with their own unique journeys of aging. And slowly, the everyday interactions that once infused your life with a rich symphony of voices and laughter begin to thin out, leaving you with an unsettling quiet. This is not a reality that anyone truly prepares you for. In your 60s and even your 70s, most of your contemporaries are still present. There's a prevailing sense of energy, movement, and continuous connection. But after 80, a distinct shift occurs. You begin to outlive people. You start to outpace conversations. And this transformation is so quiet, so subtle, that at first you might not even consciously register its profound impact. I recall the poignant story of Arthur, a cheerful 84-year-old who for years frequented the same cozy coffee shop every morning. The staff knew his exact order, his friends would meet him there without needing a text, and his presence was a comforting rhythm. But over time, those friends stopped coming. Some had passed away, some had moved, and others simply ceased driving. One somber day, Arthur confided in me, "It's strange to walk into a place where everyone used to know your name, and now You're just the man in the corner booth. The pain of that particular brand of loneliness isn't always expressed loudly. It doesn't always manifest in overt tears or visible grief. Sometimes it's just a prolonged silence after dinner, or a walk that feels a little too quiet, a little too solitary. It's the profound realization that the cherished list of people who truly know you is steadily shrinking, and you feel powerless to halt its diminishment. But understanding this brutal reality empowers you to act. You can bravely open new doors, even as others have closed. You can actively cultivate connection on your own terms, whether through a new community group, a weekly lunch date you initiate, a heartfelt phone call you make, or even a handwritten letter. Because after 80, genuine connection no longer comes to you with the same effortless grace it once did. You must courageously go out and seek it, and that takes immense strength. But you've navigated life this far that courage is already deeply ingrained within you. By the time you gracefully reach 80, your body no longer whispers, it speaks with an undeniable clarity. The fleeting aches that once came and went now tend to linger, stubbornly holding on. The profound fatigue that once vanished after a refreshing nap might now stretch relentlessly into the following day. And the stark truth that catches many people completely off guard is this: after 80, even seemingly minor health problems possess the power to irrevocably alter your life overnight. You might awaken feeling perfectly fine, go about your day with usual routine, and by evening something feels subtly amiss. A slight dizziness, a persistent sore leg, a nagging cough that refuses to dissipate as quickly as expected. Suddenly you find yourself sitting in a sterile waiting room, listening to medical terms like monitor, imaging, or possible admission. What used to be dismissed with a simple command to rest now demands immediate, dedicated attention, and often there's no returning to precisely how things were before. What renders this stage of life particularly challenging isn't solely the physical discomfort, it's the unsettling unpredictability. You can adhere to every piece of sound advice, eating nourishing foods, engaging in gentle movement, prioritizing sufficient sleep, and still feel as though your body is one step ahead of you, making decisions you never consented to. A seemingly innocent misstep on the stairs can necessitate weeks of arduous recovery. A simple stomach bug can drain your vitality for days on end. And even after you recover, things don't always fully return to their former state. Your balance might feel slightly off. Your breathing might demand more effort. The familiar bounce back is simply no longer what it once was. I once encountered Eleanor, a sharp, active, and fiercely independent 81-year-old. She cherished tending her vibrant backyard garden, enjoyed long walks through her neighborhood, and remained deeply engaged with her cherished book club. But after a minor fall while trimming a rose bush, everything irrevocably changed. It wasn't just the injury, she reflected, her voice tinged with a quiet sadness. It was the aftermath. Weeks of mandated rest turned into months of diminished strength, and my confidence plummeted. She continued, I thought I was just taking a break, but my body treated it like a full stop. That's the crucial detail no one tells you. At 80, rest isn't always restorative in the same way. It can, if you're not acutely careful, subtly usher in a decline. And sometimes, even when you are careful, your body simply decides to slow down anyway. You come to realize you're not bouncing back, you're adapting forward. But here lies the profound strength in this realization. You begin to honor your energy with greater wisdom. You learn to meticulously pace yourself, not out of fear, but out of a deep respect for the incredible journey your body has carried you through. You treat your health not as an inherent guarantee, but as a daily, sacred practice. And when you embrace that perspective, even if the youthful bounce has vanished, your footing becomes steadier. You walk a little slower, but with heightened awareness. You rest for longer periods, but with deeper intention. and you begin to understand that even a body that moves with less haste can still carry a profoundly strong and resilient spirit. Regardless of how fiercely independent you've been your entire life, one of the most challenging truths to accept after 80 is this: you will begin to need assistance with tasks you once performed without a second thought. It doesn't descend upon you suddenly, it creeps in quietly, subtly, until one day you find yourself consciously avoiding the high kitchen cabinets, gripping the stair railing just a little tighter, or hesitating before driving your car on a rainy day. And even though a part of you still feels entirely capable, another part quietly acknowledges that some things are simply no longer as effortless as they once were. What makes this reality particularly difficult isn't merely the physical shift, it's the profound emotional adjustment. For those who have dedicated decades to caring for others, the very notion of becoming the one who needs help can feel deeply uncomfortable, even humiliating. You might begin to perceive yourself as a burden, or you may instinctively start concealing the things you can no longer do, skipping the grocery trip, neglecting to mention a minor fall to your children, stubbornly attempting to fix a light bulb on your own despite weeks of persistent shoulder pain. The innate desire to maintain independence doesn't wane with age. If anything, it intensifies. But the truth is, independence after 80 manifests differently than it did at 60. It's not about accomplishing every task alone. It's about possessing the wisdom to recognize when assistance is required and the courage to humbly accept it. I once encountered Frederick, an honorable 85-year-old who prided himself on his self-reliance. He had survived a war, successfully raised 4 children, and even constructed his own shed out back using nothing but salvaged wood and sheer determination. But one winter he slipped on his icy driveway. There were no broken bones, just a bruised pride. He told no one of his mishap, but his daughter, Sarah, noticed a subtle difference in his demeanor. She began showing up once a week, bringing groceries and staying for a cup of coffee. At first, Frederick resisted, asserting, "I'm perfectly fine." But over time, their weekly coffee evolved into a cherished ritual, and eventually he confessed something that even surprised him. "It's actually quite nice not having to carry everything alone." That's the profound shift. It's not a sign of weakness. It's an embodiment of wisdom. Understanding that accepting help isn't a surrender of independence, it's a strategic way of protecting it. Because when you allow someone to assist you in climbing the stairs, drive you to a doctor's appointment, or carry that heavy bag, you are in fact granting yourself more years of living life to its fullest. And not all help has to originate from other people. It can be a strategically placed grab bar in the shower, a convenient stool in the kitchen, or a simple reminder note on the refrigerator. These small supports don't diminish your dignity, they meticulously preserve it. After 80, the bravest words you can utter might just be, "I could truly use a hand." Because the older you become, the greater the strength you demonstrate by choosing safety over pride, profound peace over unnecessary struggle, and genuine connection over isolating self-reliance. One of the more poignant and often painful realities of life after 80 isn't about your physical health or your memory. It's about your very presence in the world. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, you begin to feel invisible. Perhaps not to the intimate circle of people who deeply love you, but certainly to the broader world at large. The cashier might inadvertently look past you to the next person in line. Your doctor might direct their explanations to your adult child rather than directly addressing you. The server at a restaurant might mistakenly assume you cannot hear, think, or make decisions for yourself. It's a subtle shift at first, then it becomes increasingly frequent, and even if you attempt to shrug it off, it settles somewhere deep within you, because regardless of our age, we all possess an innate desire to be seen, acknowledged, and valued. When you have lived a full, rich life, having worked, raised a family, made pivotal decisions, and weathered countless storms, it is profoundly jarring to feel dismissed simply because your skin has softened with age or your hair has turned silver. What often hurts more deeply is the realization that this invisibility is rarely born of malice. It's simply a fast-paced world that forgets slower steps can still carry profound stories. It's a society obsessed with fleeting youth that forgets the immense strength it took to reach this venerable age. And unless you proactively speak up, you risk shrinking, not because you've lost your voice, but because others have simply stopped listening. I vividly recall Beatrice, a sharp 86-year-old who volunteered at a local museum, sharing a story. One day, a visitor posed a question to the staff, a question Beatrice could have answered effortlessly in her sleep, having lived through that very historical decade. Yet the question completely bypassed her, directed instead to a younger staff member. When I gently inquired how she felt, she offered a small, melancholic smile and simply said, "I'm used to it." But there was an undeniable sadness behind that smile, the kind that arises from being perceived as background furniture rather than a vibrant flame. But you are not furniture. You are not merely a backdrop. You are still vibrantly here, still thinking, still contributing, and possessing an invaluable perspective. And just because the world sometimes forgets that doesn't mean you have to. So what can you do? You speak anyway. You ask the questions. You offer your seasoned opinions. You participate. You vote. You share your profound stories, even when no one explicitly asks. You stand tall even if your knees feel a slight wobble, because every single time you courageously claim your rightful space in the room, you remind the world and, crucially, yourself, that you are not done yet. You are not invisible. You are a living library of experience, a profound witness to time, a voice that still matters profoundly. And you don't need to shout to be heard. You just need to steadfastly refuse to disappear. As you move deeper into your ATS, if your purpose isn't intentionally redefined, a peculiar quietude often settles in. This isn't merely the quiet of your home or a less demanding schedule, it's an internal quietude. Life slows down, the calendar isn't as jam-packed, and with that deceleration comes an abundance of space. Space to reflect, to remember, to replay past moments. This can be a profoundly beautiful experience, but if you're not careful, it can transform into something heavy. Not the loud, dramatic kind of weight, but the quiet, lingering kind. I wish I'd spent more time with them, kind. The why didn't I seize that opportunity when I had it, kind. The kind that surfaces when you possess ample time but no longer the energy or freedom to pursue the things you once endlessly postponed. This is a topic people rarely discuss openly. We celebrate the inherent wisdom of aging, the freedom that retirement ostensibly brings, the unadulterated joy of grandchildren, and all of that is undeniably real. But so too is the lingering, often unspoken question, what now? If you've dedicated your entire life to working, giving, rushing, raising and serving, and then all of that activity suddenly ceases, it can feel as though your very purpose is fading along with it. I knew a man named Charles, a wise 88-year-old who had been a dedicated teacher for over 4 decades. After he retired, he felt a deep sense of pride in his accomplishments, but also, surprisingly, a hollow emptiness. "No one needs me anymore," he remarked to me one day, his voice tinged with melancholy. But that wasn't true. He simply hadn't yet discovered a new way to be needed. Because purpose doesn't retire, it merely changes its shape. Perhaps you no longer construct houses, but you now build confidence in your great-grandchildren through your captivating stories. Maybe you no longer lead bustling meetings, but you lead with a comforting presence when someone is grieving. Perhaps you don't solve complex global problems, but you alleviate loneliness with a simple, genuine smile directed at a neighbor. The true danger of regret isn't that you've made mistakes. We all have. It's that you linger in them for too long, without transforming them into something meaningful. But when you bravely redefine purpose, not as mere productivity but as profound presence, you begin to realize that you still possess an immense amount to give, not just to others but equally important to yourself. Because the most vital work you will undertake after 80 may not be for legacy or external applause. It may simply be this: waking up each day with kindness residing in your heart, with an unyielding curiosity in your eyes, and with enough quiet courage to genuinely ask, how can I bring a little light into the world today, even if it's just a tiny flicker? That, my friend, is not regret. That is redemption, and it is never, ever too late to discover it. Final thoughts. Reaching your 80s is an extraordinary achievement. It is a profound landmark built upon decades of love, profound loss, relentless effort, ceaseless change, and unwavering resilience. But hand in hand with that strength come new challenges, some subtle, others impossible to ignore. And confronting these raw realities doesn't diminish you. It makes you profoundly honest. It signifies that you have lived long enough to truly see life for what it inherently is. Unpredictable, sometimes unfair, but undeniably, exquisitely worth showing up for. So, which of these 5 realities resonated most deeply with you? Was it the pervasive silence that descends when your once vibrant social world begins to shrink? The frustration of a body that no longer recovers with its former alacrity? The often uncomfortable shift of needing assistance when you've dedicated a lifetime to being the helper? Or perhaps it was the unsettling sensation of invisibility that arises when the world moves too quickly to genuinely see you? Or the persistent ache that grows when your purpose no longer feels clear? Whatever it was, my deepest hope is that you felt truly seen and understood, because the absolute truth is, you are not alone in any of this. Not in the gradual slowing down, not in the moments of forgetfulness, not in the profound questions that might keep you awake at night, or in the moments that cause you to ponder what truly comes next. And here's the most empowering news: even now, even at this advanced stage, you retain the profound power to choose. You can choose connection, you can choose rest, you can choose to bravely ask for help, you can choose to speak louder when someone inadvertently overlooks you, and softer when someone is in dire need of your gentle grace. You can choose to forgive yourself for what didn't happen, and honor yourself for all that magnificently did. This chapter of life is not the grand finale. It is the deep, profound part of the story. It is the section where every single word carries immense weight, where small gestures resonate with more significance than grand ones ever could. It is the time where your presence, your enduring patience, and your unique perspective become your ultimate power. Thank you for joining us today. We would be absolutely honored to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one pivotal thing you learned today and how you plan to integrate it into your life. Your thoughts and insights are incredibly important to us, so please don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments fuels our motivation and provides immense encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. Your unwavering support enables us to continue creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we eagerly anticipate seeing you in the next video.